red doors here, please.
Here, folks.
Brendan,
Thank you,
Peter.
folks.
Brendan,
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.
On my side. Thank you.
Straight in the middle, last one, please. Straight in the middle, gents. Mike, thank you very much. Thank
Can
you.
we handshake, please, guys, please? We handshake.
Handshake.
Thank you.
Okay.
Guys at the back, please. Guys at the back.
Thanks, good afternoon. I'd like to hand over to Peter first for a few words and then we'll just open up for questions. Thank you.
Okay, well, good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to Celtic Park. Last Monday, as you all know, we announced that we're delighted to announce that Brendan was returning as the first team manager. He was the outstanding candidate. Clearly, he knows Celtic, he knows how we operate, he knows how we work, and he's got an outstanding track record the last time he was here. So he knows the back room, he knows the executive. So he is an ideal candidate. He was the outstanding candidate, and we were delighted to have him here today. We're delighted when he said yes and accepted the job. So thank you, guys, and I'll open for questions now.
Brendan, welcome back.
Thank
Nice
you
to
very
see
much. Thank you.
How does it feel to be sat here a second time to be unveiled as the Celtic manager?
Well, I'm very privileged and honoured to be asked to come back. My whole plan was to have a year out and reset again. But once I spoke to the guys at the club and looked a little bit more deep into where the club was at, then it was then pretty straightforward. The club's in a fantastic place, and it made me really excited to come back. And also, it wasn't a nostalgic move, but I had an amazing time here when I was here. But I'm here to win going forward, and I really look forward to hopefully achieving that.
When you left the club last time, you said you'd maybe taken the club as far as you could have at that moment. What has changed in the intervening period? What do you think you can do more now, and what's made you think you can do perhaps more now?
Yeah, listen, I think first and foremost, your bread and butter is always Scotland. So you have to ensure that you have dominance whilst you're here. But what I would like to think that we can do something in Europe, and that means, it's well documented over many years, when the club hasn't qualified or gone through a great record in terms of European football. So, and even though that is a challenge with the resources that other clubs will have in terms of European football, it's a great challenge for us. Get Champions League football this season and look to have European football after Christmas. And like I say, that is a great challenge for us all. And when I look at from within the club, whenever I'd spoken to Michael and when he came out to present the infrastructure at the club, there was a lot of things in place that we'd spoken about when I was here the first time. There's a brilliant recruitment team in place. I look at Mark and the work that he's done since he's been here and setting up, and it's set up perfectly for a club like Celtic to work in the markets that they need to be working in. And you can see with the players that's been brought in through his recruitment team, and that for me is very important. And I come to a club for one of the very few times in my career where it has an upward feel to it. A lot of the jobs that I've gone into, the clubs have maybe been suffering, or the teams have been suffering, and I've come in to pick it up. Here I come in with a great foundation on the back of the great work that Ange's done here over the last couple of years, and look to continue with that.
Have you spoken to Ange at all about the group you're inheriting and what he found here during his time?
No, I've exchanged messages with him. I've spoken in depth to John Kennedy, who's obviously been a pivotal person here at the club, and who'll be my assistant whilst I'm here. So yeah, I've spoken at length. I've obviously watched Celtic as well. The football philosophy is not too different in terms of how we would work, and how a Celtic manager is perceived to work with his team. It's an attacking club where you have to not just win, but you have to win stylistically in a certain way. And and Ange has obviously done that, and hopefully my period before we were able to do that. So it's a continuation of that, and looking to continue to build on that.
By and large, the reaction to your return to club has been very positive from the fan base. They seem keen to have you back and remember what you did first time round.
Yeah.
There, of course, was that anger amongst some when you departed. I just wonder how difficult at the time that was to see some of the things that were said, the anger that was there towards you, and also if it put you off at all coming back.
No, listen, I would understand how supporters would feel, and listen, I also know that when I was here, maybe the first time when we were doing really well, I will have had critics. So, but it was an emotional time. The club was going for 10 in a row, and there was a lot of emotion around. It was something that, like you said, that I never get too emotional with words. I'm hoping that in my time here, I can have that impact that I had in my first time. I think the expectations are greater. I think the pressure is greater because of what we did the first time and probably how I left. But that was what I wanted. That's why I'm here. I'm here to win, to take on that expectation and pressure, because it's a club that wants to be winning. And for me, hopefully the people that I've had lots of support from, you know, when I left and I'm now coming back, I really thank them for that. For the people that maybe don't want me here, hopefully I can prove to them with the football that we play and the success that we can have, hopefully I can shift their opinion.
I was going to say, is that the hope for you now, that you'll be able to change the opinions of those last few who remain unconvinced? You'll be able to win them back round, because previously obviously you had a fabulous relationship with the fan base. Yeah,
and I hope that I can still have. I think it's just it's natural. When I left, it was a sad moment, and I certainly don't regret it. But what I do regret is the hurt that it caused people, and it's the very reason I'm sat here today. You know, as a Celtic supporter, I understood what it meant, and probably even more so when I left. So that was my regret, that I hurt people who were Celtic supporters, and it was a big part of coming back.
Final question from myself, before I hand the floor over to the rest of the guys. Perhaps I don't know who this goes to, because it's sort of past and present. Michael, Peter, can you give us an idea of perhaps the difference in resource that Brendan will get to work with this time round to when he came in first time round? Because obviously there's an ambition to maybe make a better dent in Europe again, whichever gentleman would like to take that.
Sure, I think from our perspective, the strategy has always been clear. That's to be a world-class football club in whatever we do. As Brendan mentioned, we want to dominate in Scotland. We want to compete in the Champions League, and that has been clearly stated for many, many years. So there's no change in that regard. What we have always done over many years is to continuously improve as a football club, to invest. We've got a sustainable model, a self-financing model. So we invest when we can, for today, tomorrow and the long term. So there's no significant change there. And we all want the same thing, which is to win.
Brendan, you spoke there of the emotions that this club holds to you. I just wondered, when you left at that time, what effect, you know, that emotion does that still have? Would you still hold that emotion of the time when you left?
Yeah, listen, it was a sad time because of the relationships that I built up here with the players, with the supporters, with the board. So it wasn't an easy decision, of course. But to go away and then be able to come back again, I think it, despite probably what I've read at times and what I hear, you know, life's about relationships. And I wouldn't be sat here today if I didn't have the relationship with the guys around the table and with the other members of the board. It just wouldn't happen. So I'm clearly ambitious, but I'm very ambitious for Celtic to be the best that we can be. I think as I come back to the landscape and understand it much better now in terms of where we function, but my ambition is for Celtic to be the best. And when I left, no matter the criticism that I had, the club was always close to me, and like I said, it's a real privilege and honour to be invited back again.
To those who may have an apprehension, what would be your message to those individuals directly?
Listen, hopefully in time, I can give you the feeling that I gave you when I was here the first time, and I don't expect anything if I get the support, which has been amazing for me, and the reaction since I came back, then that's great. For those who doubt, I've had it all my career, so I will continue to work hard and hopefully produce a team that plays and plays that hopefully they can enjoy, and it's just going to be something that will take time, I'm sure.
You mentioned you're taking over that privileged positions of the treble winners. How do you assess the squad that you inherit, and what's your plans in terms of strengthening this summer?
Listen, I think it's a good time to strengthen. Whenever you've done ever so well, and like you say, a team coming off the back of a treble, I've been in that position before, and we were able to do another treble. So I understand the feeling now over the course of a summer, what it is you need at this period, and that will be a bit strengthening. But it's also, I'm really excited to work with the players here because it's a young squad, and there's still, a lot of growth within that. So, but I'm really looking forward to getting to see them over the course of pre-season. There's only a few players that were here from when I was here, so it's an exciting squad, and we can add to that. It's now a really good time to do that when you're winning.
You've already mentioned Europe previously. What does success look like for you? What do you envisage success looking like for yourself and for Celtic on a European stage?
Well, listen, we all know the challenges of the Champions League, and of course it's where you can get through. If you can get through into the knockout stages, then of course that's a big step for a Scottish team. But you arrive into Europe, there's competitions now where you can, with that little bit of luck and the quality that you can have, it can allow you to go a long way. So for us, I think it's getting through a qualification phase, which is really, really important. And like I said, you see where that can take you. But Europe is something that it's such a challenge. But for us, it's a great challenge, and that's something that we'll look to embrace.
How much have you evolved or changed as a manager since you were last here, and can we expect to see a slightly different Celtic team to what we saw 4.5 years ago?
Well, I think in terms of how we play, my teams always play with an attacking philosophy. It's always aggressive, and it's always a team set out to win, but always with a tactical discipline. So that has never changed. When my teams are at their best, that's what they do. So for me, I'm a better manager than when I sat here 7 years ago when I first came, and certainly from when I left 4 years ago. The experiences, good and bad, always help you, and that was the beauty of coming back to here. It's an amazing club, and I can come back with my experience and hopefully help the club keep move forward.
Do you plan a lot of recruitment over the next few months, or would it just be one or two just to enhance the squad?
Yeah, no, I think it's just about getting quality, and my conversations with Mark and the recruitment team, they've got a great handle on where it's, and speaking to Michael, everything is under control in terms contractually, but like I say, time always to improve is when you're doing well, and this is a nice possibility for us to improve the squad, but it's not lots of numbers. I think Ange, when he came in, he had a massive rebuilding job and done a brilliant job at that, and over the last couple of years, himself and the club, they've built a really, really good squad. So it's a case of continually developing that squad and then adding quality where we can.
You guys have spoken a lot about Europe, but how much are you looking forward to just the bread and butter of being back in Scottish football, battling for the title?
Yeah, battling with the media. That's always good fun. But no, listen, I have to say, Scotland brought me a lot of happiness on and off the pitch when I was here. Obviously, the joy of working here at Celtic was amazing, and how successful we were. And of course, off the pitch, I had a lot of respect for the city and for the country as a whole, and hence why, whenever we were coming back and thinking about coming back, it wasn't just the football side. The last moments when we were here was tough, and off the field, it still didn't change for us the good feeling that we had here when we're here at Celtic. So I'm delighted to be here from a professional perspective and taking on the other teams, and also from a family perspective. They'll find a great happiness here.
Do you see yourself being here for the long haul for several years?
Well, hopefully. Listen, I've signed for 3 years, and I'll guarantee you I'll be here for 3 years unless I get emptied before that, as they say up here. But yeah, that will be the plan, and like I say, then we can look at it from there.
Obviously, there's always the focus on the Celtic Rangers rivalry. You've worked with Michael before in the past. What kind of challenge are you expecting from them forward, and do you think they'll be stronger than they were in your first spell?
Well, I think all you can do is, you know, when you're a manager is beat the opposition that's in front of you. You know, I think when I arrived 7 years ago, Rangers were getting promoted. They'd just beaten Celtic, and there was a big feeling that they could go on and win the league. Now, obviously, over the next numbers of years, we were able to focus on ourselves and play the football that we wanted to play, and that allowed us to win trophies and have success. And it'll be exactly the same here. Michael is a coach that I knew from back in the Chelsea days, and then came to Liverpool when I was manager there. So I've known him over a period of time, and he's an excellent coach. But my focus will purely be on Celtic, improving us as a team, and that would be my thought process every minute of the day.
A lot of talk over John Kennedy as your assistant, a wanted man. It seems, just how crucial was it that you keep him by your side, and obviously a man who knows this club better than most? Yeah,
it was very important. I had spoken to Michael on that when we had met. I think that over the career I've worked, you know, I've always come into clubs. Some have come in on my own, some have come in with staff. But I've always felt that coming back to here, that it was really going to be really important for John to be here, because he knows how I work. He knows the rhythm of my days and how I can work. He's steeped in Celtic. He's an incredible worker. He's a great football man. He has the respect of the players. He has respect for all the staff. So for me, to be able to have him here was important. So when I spoke to John and looked to convince him to stay, I was really pleased and happy that he wanted to. So now he's a great guy, great football man. We worked really well together last time we were here, and hopefully it can be the same this time.
Can I just ask about the recruitment of Brendan? From the point you realised Ange would perhaps depart to bring in Brendan, the sort of time scale, the process, and how quickly you realised that Brendan would be the man you would prefer to have at the helm?
Yeah, sure. So Chris Mackay and I went for lunch in Mallorca. That was the starting point. That was perhaps the worst kept secret in Scottish football. Perhaps Chris's sombrero and beach ball gave us away in the airport. That might have been it. But no, I think you always have to be ready for change in football. And when Ange left, you know, we knew we had to replace him with a manager of top quality. And in Brendan, we know we've got that. As Brendan mentioned, we've invested in the squad over the last years. We've got a very young, hungry squad. So we profiled managers that through the process could take us on, and Brendan was a standout candidate. So that was our priority, was to bring Brendan back to Celtic, and we're delighted to do so.
And just on the contract, Brendan mentioned it then, it's a 3-year deal. He says he's there for the duration of it unless you decide otherwise.
Yeah.
Was that a conscious decision to give a longer, definitive period of time? 'Cause it's not been the regular way of doing the contracts here.
Sure. I mean, again, when Chris and I met with Brendan, it was clear that there was a mutual excitement about what we're going to go on, what we could go on to do, and this was a mutual statement of our commitment to that. So that was an important part of it. Yeah.
Brendan, your message to the Celtic fans when you were appointed was, let's get to work. Do you have one now that you're sitting here in the stadium?
No, listen, it's just a thank you for the support that I've had. This is a club that allows you to dream. It's an amazing football club with a history so rich, and I'm hoping that us together we can add to that. And it has to be unified. It has to be together, and like we were the first time, let's see if we can create those memories again, and they were special memories, and as I said, from this day forward, we stay together.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay.
Thank you, gents.
Super. Cheers, guys. Thank you.